All right, Mrs. Wickett, I'm awake.
There you are, sir. Nice and clean for chapel.
Thank you.
I've put the kettle on. Shall I make the tea?
Hmm.
Do you like the orange pickle?
No, leave it. I can do it. I'm 85. I'm not decrepit.
You know, sir, I can still never tell whether you are asleep or not when I come into the room.
I hardly know myself.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
Dreaming. Or daydreaming. Hmm.
Then what can I do for you, young man?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Please, is Mr. Chips in?
Mr. Chipping lives here. You kindly remember that. Mr. Chipping.
I'm ever so sorry, but I was told to ask for Mr. Chips.
What is your name?
Branscombe, ma'am. Might be reported.
Yes.
I'm ever so sorry, ma'am. Good afternoon,
No,
ma'am.
I'm not so fast, young man. Step inside. You might have the laugh on those practical jokers yet.
Fingers were made before forks. You'll have to learn politer ways when you're older. But don't forget your napkin.
Oh, no, sir.
When you're a man, you'll also learn about wine. But it's my pleasure to teach you the mysteries of tea. Now, remember, we don't want it to stand too long. We want it to brew, not stew, eh, Branksome?
Yes, sir.
Take sugar.
Oh, yes, sir.
It's a bit too brown for my taste, but at least invigorating. Oh. Now, tell me, wasn't there a Branksome here at school some, it must have been 20 years ago at least?
Yes, sir. The Paytals here.
Oh, well, wait, I remember Branksome Primus and Branksome Secundus.
My Uncle John was younger than Father. He was here too.
Branksome J. Oh, he was killed in the Great War.
Sir.
It was at Cambrai.
1917.
And I could never succeed in making him understand the ablative absolute. Huh.
I expect Mrs. Wickett told you.
Hmm?
About the joke the fellows played on me.
What joke?
About your name.
Oh.
Well, I believe them because, well, sir, the pater talks about you ever so often. But he always calls you Mr. Chips.
He probably calls me Old Chips. I taught here for 38 years. Well, before I finally retired, and that was over 15 years ago. I remember so much that no one else remembers. I'll tell you a secret. I am writing a book. Well, it's just the odd jotting, so it doesn't get forgotten. Well, eat your cake.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, there's the prep bell, eh? Well, take it with you, take it with you.
Oh,
Never be late for prep.
Righto, sir. Thank you for tea.
Yes. Now, when you write to your father, you'll remember me to him, won't you?
I will, sir.
Take your cap. Go on. What is it, eh?
Well, I was trying to do a sum in my head.
Oh?
You said 38 years and 15 years retired. Well, that makes...
Oh, a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Cut along, cut along. Boys, boys. A very long time ago. Some years before, I had come down from Cambridge to begin my career as a teacher. I was not a success. Post followed post. Failure followed failure.
There we are, sir. Brookfield School.
My nerve was almost broken. And now, miraculously, my application for a position at yet another school had received a favorable answer. It seemed I was to be given one final chance.
Mr. Chipping, I will be frank with you. You are here because my junior classics master, Mr. Millard, sustained a severe injury while climbing in the Swiss Alps and is unable to return to teaching. It is late in the academic year, and most of the promising candidates have found posts. However, I need help. Hence the chance that I am giving you.
Well, thank you, sir, and I shall try to justify
my confidence. You must earn that, Mr. Chipping. In the meantime, you must consider yourself on probation.
Yes, sir.
Eventually, perhaps you will find yourself more suited to holy orders, a quiet country curacy.
Well, I'm as Christian as the next man, but I do not believe the church to be my calling. I still believe the teaching is.
We shall see. I will show you your rooms. This is your study. And, yes, these are your sleeping quarters. Your predecessor found them quite adequate and comfortable. Carpet only needs beaching. I'll have a chair sent up. Any complaints?
None, sir, no.
You'll be taking the lower third. I've set them a Latin text. A passage from Caesar's Gallic Wars.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Is everyone here?
Yes, sir.
Good. Well, now before we start, I would like to say a few words. I, of course, as you know, am new to this school. I say you, sir.
Sir?
What's your name, please?
Collie, sir.
Ah, well, you are late, Collie.
Yes, sir, I'm awfully sorry, sir. I was answering a call of nature. If you've ever been in that embarrassing position, sir...
Be quiet, would you, sir? Sit down.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Now, I am your new form master. And my name is Chipping.
Please, could you spell it?
Yes.
Oh, Chipping, sir. I thought you said shipping. Chipping, as in chips.
But that's enough. You have been set some work, haven't you?
Yes, sir. It was the beginning to book 4. The Aeneid, wasn't it?
You know very well the headmaster set you a passage from Caesar's Gallic Wars.
Oh, I am forgetful. Let me see. De Bello Gallico, wasn't it? I expect lots of other chaps have got the wrong book out.
Boys, please, stop banging your desks. Be quiet. Quiet. Stop it. This is totally unnecessary. Colin. You instigated that?
Me, sir?
Yes, since you're so fond of the Aeneid, you will write me the first 100 lines of book 4 by tomorrow morning. Now, carry on quietly, all of you. I did not go down on my knees to pray, as every zealous young Christian man was expected to do in those days. I had told the headmaster I was as much a Christian as the next man. I should have added, and no more so. But there was a prayer racking every fibre of me for courage to face, not the future, just the next day. Now, I understand in Roman history you have just done the Second Punic Wars. That's, chapter 3 in your books. Mr. Colley, I believe you have something for me.
Afraid not, sir.
Oh? Well, why not?
Had a frightful headache, sir. Couldn't even see properly.
Did you go to matron?
No, sir. Her cure for everything is a dose of syrup of figs. And you know what that does? I'd be late for form again. You ask the chaps. I'm right, aren't I? It's disgusting! Gives you crap, sir! Stop it, you upset!
Be quiet! You behave like a lot of sheep!
Chips.
I'm sorry, sir.
What are you doing behind there?
Making your bed, sir. I do the master's rooms.
Well, why did you close the curtain? Oh, you've been crying.
No, sir. Yes, sir, I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, you wanted to hide?
Expect so, sir.
Well, why were you crying?
Don't know, sir.
Yes, you do.
It's that first housemaid, sir.
First housemaid?
She's after me something awful.
Oh, look, don't cry. Use my handkerchief. Sit down. Perhaps I could help. I could speak to the headmaster.
Oh, no, sir. He has nothing to do with the servants. Matron's in charge of us, and she'll just call me a softie and give me a dose of coffee.
Yes. Yes, I know.
I was going to run away, sir.
Oh, where to?
Don't know, sir.
To your home?
I haven't got one, sir. I came here from the orphanage.
But then where to?
Don't know, sir.
But that would be terrible. What's your name?
Daisy, sir.
Daisy. A young girl alone? Well, let it suffice that there are far worse people in this world than our first housemaid.
Yes, sir. But it is hard on a girl.
Well, life is hard. We have to face all that. We can't run away all our lives, can we?
No, sir.
We have to teach ourselves to face it.
Yes, sir. I'd best get on then, sir. I've got 3 more rooms. Thank you, sir. And excuse me.
Giving good advice to others is seldom difficult. Yet in that young girl's problems, I saw a reflection of my own. I saw, too, that somehow I had to find the answer. I was no great sportsman, but I had had the good fortune to be up at Cambridge when the varsities were discovering that cricket was not just a slam or miss game. Even now, I pride myself that I took a few wickets for my college.
What exactly is this? Some sort of game?
No, sir. Roman history, sir. I was showing them how Hannibal's war elephants charged.
I see. Well, that's most praiseworthy of you. Well, sit down, Collie. Quickly and quietly. Right, books away now. I want you into your whites and down at the cricket field in 10 minutes. Collie, and you, sir, what's your name?
Wilson, sir.
Wilson. I want you to go to the groundsman and collect the gear. 1 set of stumps, a bat, and plenty of pads. Next. Stumps up. Next, please.
No, I don't. Didn't you see it spin? It hit a bump. That's all. That's what it was. Still think it's a piece of good luck.
Mr. Collie, would you do me the honour?
Delighted, sir.
Last time, Collie. Hit it for 6. Over the chapel roof. Old Wilson's study window, Collie. Quiet, you chaps.
Bravo, sir.
Bravo to you, Collie. You play that like a game one.
I thought it was good to make a hole in my bat. Can I have another ball, please?
Next time, gather round me. By now, I could see that I was beginning to capture the attention of the boys. I told them of the miracles performed by Dr. Grace and Mr. Buchanan, showed them how bowling could be cunningly bid. Cricket was not only an art, but a science. Oh, and Collie, I do require the 100 lines before dormitory bell. Come in. Oh, Collie.
My lines, sir.
Oh, well, neatly written.
Well, sir, what's worth doing?
It's worth doing well, eh? Even ragging a master. Do you make a habit of it?
Not exactly, sir.
Just a new master, eh?
Well, sir, if he'll stand for ragging, he's not much of a master.
Well, that's a profound truth, Collie. Kindly note I will stand for no further ragging.
Yes, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Oh, sir.
Hmm?
It'll be all right in class. I'll see to that.
No, Collie. I will.
Yes, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Expectus sum. Expectus sum. Expectus est. Expectus est. Expectus est. Expectus est.
And so slowly but surely, I began to grasp the rudiments of my profession.
Expecti sunt.
For a time, I even nursed the young schoolmaster's proper ambition of becoming a headmaster. But as I settled comfortably into the routine of a schoolmaster's life, I began gradually to realize my limitations. I was a passable sportsman and a passable but very ordinary teacher. But now I was even a passable disciplinarian. Yes, I was happy enough. And I took a certain pride in having become something of an institution at the school.
Don't worry, it's only old Chips. Come on. Archibald, sir. Yes.
I was now Old Chips. That interminable list of names at call over had become my life. I was 47 years old.
We're always very fortunate to have such fine weather on Founder's Day, then the ladies can delight us with their exquisite dresses. So much nicer than umbrellas, I think.
Ah, Chips.
Oh.
Old boy's privilege to call you Chips, eh? I think you know Mrs. Farrell. And this is my little girl, Amanda.
Hello.
Amanda's not a little girl, George. She came out last year. She was invited to a ball at Londonderry House.
Wonderfully exciting.
Sell enough soap and you don't need noble ancestors. Mossy Meldrum, I'll leave you to the ladies.
Mr. Chipping, how's my boy John progressing?
Oh, John, well, quite satisfactorily, yes.
Now then, Headmaster, isn't it about time you told us why we've been invited up here?
Oh, I just wanted in peace and quiet to see some of my more distinguished parents.
The richest, you mean? I know a few of them. I've seen you having the little word all round. What is it this time? Chapel Roof? Brookfield Mission?
But how do you find his behaviour?
His behaviour? Oh, excellent, excellent.
He's a little beast at home. Honestly, Mr. Chipping. Isn't he really a little beast here as well?
Oh, your plate's empty. Perhaps I can get you something more.
Thank you.
More cake, perhaps.
No, we won't be tempted anymore, thank you.
Oh, well, then, if you'll forgive me, delighted to have met you. Excuse me.
Extraordinary man. No savoir-faire.
He was absolutely terrified of me, Mamma.
I hope he's not so terrified with his boys, Headmaster.
Mr. Chipping is an excellent teacher. Otherwise, he would not be here. Fortune has smiled upon me, Chipping.
Indeed, Headmaster.
Anderson has decided to accept his family's living, which will mean his early departure from us. And this puts me in the happy position of being able to offer you the housemastership of School House. Excellent quarters and an increment of remuneration.
I have no desire for advancement, sir. I'm perfectly happy as I am.
You are the longest-serving member of my staff. You have become part of the school to boys and masters alike. I told you many years ago that you had to win my confidence. There is no man that I would rather trust with the welfare of the boys of School House.
Mr. Anderson is married. I mean, all housemasters are married.
I'm well aware of the problem and that you're a bachelor. I intend to engage a first-class matron who will look after the domestic affairs while you look after the welfare of the boys. Now, what you say?
Oh, I would be honored to accept the recognition, but yes. And as to a matron, if I may make a suggestion, it's just a glass to celebrate our splendid promotion.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Mrs. Wicked, I think... please sit down. I think you will run schoolhouse as efficiently as you have the linen room. And you'll be a mother to all those boys.
Thank you, sir. Of course, you being a gentleman not much older than myself and me being a widow, I shall have to live out in my own house.
Well, that's only proper.
But I shall be here all day and I should sit up all night if a sick boy needed me.
Who would have thought it, eh? All those years ago, when an extremely nervous young master met a little maid called Daisy hiding behind the curtains.
What's you remembering that? Oh, you were so kind to me. Oh, I shall never forget that morning.
Mrs. Wicked, I hope I'll never forget it either.
You'll have an excellent set of rooms, sir. They do well for a married man.
Well, there's no danger of my becoming that. And so I became a bachelor housemaster. It was the following spring that I went hill walking, enjoying the beauty of the countryside in happy solitude. I say! Are you in trouble?
Have you found one? Yes! Hello?
Stay calm.
How do you do? Chipping. Chipping?
Very formal in the circumstances. I'm Catherine Bridges, and this is my friend Ethne Moore. How do you do?
How do you do?
We'll get you home.
Oh, but it's impossible. Oh. And that was how I met my Catherine.
Part 2 is next Sunday at the earlier time, 5:35.
Splendid cup of tea, as usual. Well, nothing to worry about, Mr. Chipping.
He tires very easily, Dr. Merivale. And last winter he had trouble with his breathing in the cold weather.
Well, keep him warm. I'm glad to see you've got a good fire. And keep him indoors. There's a lot of flu about. Good night, Mr. Chipping.
Good night.
I'll be back in a fortnight for another cup of tea.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Watch his chest. And his tickler's not too strong. Dear old boy, all that fuss mixing the tea. Typical little bachelor.
Bachelor?
Tea's on the hob with a nice lardy cake.
Excellent, Mrs. Wilson.
Are you comfortable, sir?
Yes, thank you.
I'm thankful those two ladies rescued you. But to think what the world is coming to. Young women climbing hills on their own.
Deplorable, though I too am thankful.
Thankful or not, I still say it was unladylike.
I dare say they're specimens of what the newspapers refer to as the new woman.
New woman, indeed. We women have quite enough to do at home. Not scrambling up mountains and careering about on those safety bicycle things. Whatever's that? Oh. Oh, look! No, would you believe it? And the very words not out of my lips. It's one of those two has brought you.
Oh, yes, Miss Bridges. How nice of her to call.
On a bicycle.
Nevertheless, we must give her some tea.
Oh, yes, sir.
Mrs. Fuller,
Yes, sir.
you may care to have tea with us.
As you wish, sir.
Exquisite.
Very nice, Mr. Chipping.
I was just so excited to get my first fossil.
And I thought you were just waving the help.
No, I was waving to tell Ethne.
It was unforgivable of me to be careless of my footing.
I wish you'd stop apologizing, Mr. Chipping.
Well, it's not as if I were a beginner, is it? To act on impulse is unforgivable.
I like impulsive people, but I can't stand self-reproach.
Grateful as I am for your visit, I'm sorry to have spoiled yet another day for you.
There you go again. Sorry, sorry. Mr. Chipping, it's all so superior and condescending. So doll's housey.
Doll's house, eh?
Ibsen.
Oh, yes, how unread of me. I'm sorry, Miss Bridges.
Sorry again. You're incurable. Wouldn't you have done the same for me?
Of course I would.
You see, miss, a gentleman may call upon a lady.
But a lady is brazen if she calls upon a gentleman.
Since you ask me, miss, I was brought up to believe she should not be unaccompanied. If you'll excuse me.
Do you know anything about the... I'm still safely chaperoned, I see. Does it make you feel safer, Mr. Chipping?
Miss Bridges, I'm an old fogey with old-fashioned ways. Please don't waste any more of your holiday on me.
What do you see in the man, Kathy?
Oh, I simply feel sorry for him. He's stuck indoors all day with no one for company except Mrs. Fuller. And she drives him dotty with local gossip. He needs a bit of good talk. And so do I.
Thank you, Catherine.
Idiot. I mean with someone new. He may be old-fashioned. He maddens me sometimes, but he argues keenly and, well, honorably. And he's ready to listen.
I think it's just as well we're going home in a couple of days.
Ethne, that's what I wanted to tell you. I've no job to go back to, and it is lovely up here. Would you mind awfully travelling alone? I think I've decided to stay on here, just for another week or so.
Well, Miss Bridges, the development of English society has always been an evolutionary one. Respect for the family, the church, the state must be maintained.
Yes, but where the position of women is concerned, it is those very institutions which are holding them back in so many ways.
Would you mind if we stop?
Oh, I'm sorry, I've overtired you.
Oh, not at all. Let's just rest a while and admire the view. I must confess, Miss Bridges, that your revolutionary ideas make my head whirl.
Women's emancipation is not revolution. It is common sense.
You read Mr. Bernard Shaw. He's a socialist.
Fear not such horrors. I am simply a radical.
A radical? Your parents approve?
I have no parents.
Oh, please forgive the intrusion. I hope it was not painful.
Oh, not at all. I live with my aunt in Ealing when I'm not earning my keep as a governess. I'm out of employment at the moment. I haven't bored you with all my chatter, have I?
Bored me? Oh, on the contrary, this is becoming a most enjoyable holiday. Perhaps it was because I too lost my parents when young that the school has become my whole life.
You love it, don't you?
Yes, I do, I must confess. But it has been an enclosed world for so long. I mean, you've made me feel that time has passed me by.
You'll just have to run a bit and catch up.
That's what you compel me to do. Mind you, I disagree with nearly everything you advocate.
Do you? You hate the plutocrats who are taking over England. You hate jingoism and grabbing colonies and South African gold and this awful race with Germany to build more battleships and train more soldiers. So do I. You're wonderful.
I look to the past, you see.
And I to the future.
Mr. Fuller and I have had our tea, but I don't mind keeping you company.
Oh, no, that's all right, Mrs. Fuller. I'm sure you've got a lot to do in the kitchen.
Indeed I have, Mr. Chipping, since you are kind enough to remind me.
Last day on the mountains.
It's been a good day. My ankle hardly hurts at all.
I should think not. You're lean and fit. You've kept in condition.
I'm middle-aged.
Silly word. You're a man of the hills.
Miss Bridges, you have my leave to make fun of me, but I cannot help my age.
Your age? I never dreamed. Shall we go on arguing, then, about whether women should have the vote?
I think not, Miss Bridges.
What do you want to talk about, then?
No, the vote, then, if you wish.
I think not, Mr. Chipping. Tell me some more about yourself.
You know it all. Over 15 years at Brookfield, part of the furniture, bit of a joke. Old Chips.
That's it. I'm blessed if I'm going to keep calling you Mr. Chipping. You're Chips. Chips.
By all means, Miss Bridges.
And I refuse from this moment to answer to Miss Bridges. It's Catherine.
Catherine.
And you have a delightful smile.
Oh, really, Miss Bridges.
No.
Catherine, this is wrong.
What is?
Well, that I should take up the time and claim the friendship of one as young and beautiful as you.
Oh, Chips, I'm so glad I met you.
But why?
That's the wonder of it. I don't know. I've never met a man before I couldn't see through. And the young ones were the most boring. I'm never bored with you. You're so unfathomable.
Unfathomable?
You keep saying things that astonish me. You're steely strong inside, and yet you're gentle and quiet and warm.
Oh. I am a cold, desiccated schoolmaster.
Well, that's what you try to be.
Oh, I've had to harden myself over the years.
And is that what you're doing now? I've told you why I like you. Now, tell me why you like me. You do like me.
My sprained ankle has been a blessing from the gods.
I've never met anyone like you, Chips.
I have never met anyone like you. Excuse me. May we get in?
Excuse me.
Well, I can't thank you enough for spending so much of your time.
No need. Ethne went. It was nice having somebody else.
Well, it only remains for me to wish you a pleasant journey.
Thank you. Oh, Chips, this is mad. Pencil and paper. Have you pencil and paper?
Yes? There.
My address. I thought you might like to have it.
Goodbye, Mr. Chip.
Good morning, sir. Your post on your desk, sir. Another letter from London, sir.
Catherine and I corresponded regularly, indeed almost daily. But the time soon came when I realized that the exchange of letters, however frequent, was not enough.
Please, ma'am, there's a gentleman in the hall. He asked for Miss Catherine.
We'll send him in. Chips. Aunt, this is Mr. Chipping. Chips, Miss Trent, my aunt.
How do you do, Miss Trent?
How do you do, Mr. Chipping? My niece has often spoken of you. Do sit down.
Thank you.
Very well, Mason.
Chips, you did not say you were coming.
Well, it's not always easy to get away on a Sunday. But this morning, my friend Mr. Rowden, you remember I spoke of him, agreed to supervise the house for me.
Have you had luncheon, Mr. Chipping?
Yes, I have. Thank you, Miss Trent.
Chips, shall we go for a walk?
I do not think Mr. Chipping wishes to see the streets of Ealing before he has to catch his train back. You may have equal privacy here. Will you excuse me, Mr. Chipping?
I had to come.
I wanted you to. I'm sure it's the first time in living memory you've been away from school during term.
Almost.
Aren't you going to tell me why you came? I know. We had to see each other, didn't we?
I am only a schoolmaster.
It's the best thing to be in the world.
Yes, but I've no connections. Small means and no prospect of promotion.
Oh, Chips. Dear Chips.
I'm sorry. Catherine, would you do me the honor of becoming my wife?
Honor be blowed. You love me.
I'm afraid I do.
Then shall you tell Aunt or shall I that we are engaged?
looks very nice, sir. She is very young.
Oh, yeah, but much wiser than I am.
I felt it in my bones, sir. The moment you told me about your uncle and those young ladies, and then all those letters from London. Oh, I wish you every happiness,
Good,
sir.
thank you, Mrs. Wickett, thank you. We shall be married immediately this term ends. You and I will have much to do preparing the rooms.
Yes, sir.
And now, I better go and tell the headmaster. I think he'll be surprised.
I'm sure he will, sir.
Well, well, well. Well, 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 well. Oh, who'd have thought it, Chipping, eh? You of all people. I'm delighted. Splendid news. Congratulations. Oh. Dear man, this calls for a glass of sherry. Comes to us all, eh, Chipping? Hmm? Well, the lucky ones. Does it not?
Well, I am indeed, as you say, fortunate. Surpassingly so. Oh, thank you.
Well, here's to your happiness and to your bride. Now, tell me about the lady.
Well, she's Miss Catherine Bridges. She lives in London.
Splendid. Splendid. A mature and practical helpmeet of years approaching your own. No doubt the future Mrs. Chipping has qualities that will impress the parents favourably.
Oh, she'll impress anybody favourably, Headmaster.
And fit into our little school community.
That we must hope for when she arrives. We shall marry quietly in London at the end of this term.
But you'll bring her down before then.
I regret not, Headmaster.
But you must, my dear man. Mrs. Meldrum would wish to meet her. I would wish to meet her. Oh. How disappointing, Chipping.
Oh, up a fourth await, I must hasten. Incidentally, Headmaster, Miss Bridges' age scarcely approaches my own. She's 23 years old.
Well, well, well. Well, 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 well.
Catherine and I spent the rest of that summer living in a woodman's cottage in Bavaria and walking in the mountains. It was a time of perfection such as I had never known or been able to imagine.
It's all charming.
Well, we must thank Mrs. Wickett for that. I kept rather plain bachelor quarters. It was she who transformed it for you, my dear.
Thank you.
I dare say you'll have your own ideas for your home, Mrs. Chipping.
Oh, no hurry. It takes time to make a home. Chips, you wanted to go over to the common room. Mrs. Wickett and I will have lots to chat about.
Oh, women's business, enough said.
I'm very glad for him, ma'am.
Thank you for saying that. Please, sit down. But not ma'am, I think. It sounds, well, subordinate. And you are the matron of School House.
Well, that's kind of you to say that, ma'am. But the housemaster's wife is generally in charge.
Oh, I do mean to pull my weight. I should like to help you whenever I can.
Well, that would be appreciated.
And I hope you will help me. I'm only a new girl. I've much to learn.
You can rely on me, ma'am. To tell you the truth, I am much relieved by this talk. I was concerned about my position.
Well, now we know where we both stand. Let us be friends on that, matron.
Thank you.
And you have lived with your family hitherto, Mrs. Chipping?
With my aunt in Ealing.
Ealing? Ah, well, we must try and to make you welcome here. Mrs. Meldrum will wish to invite you to dinner or some such gathering, but we must give you a chance to settle in first, eh, Chipping?
Indeed, Headmaster, yes.
And were you educated at a ladies' college, or did you have a governess?
Have a governess? I was a governess, after my aunt had made great sacrifices to send me to a small private school.
A governess, A very worthy occupation. Where should we be without them? And now that you have the care not of one family's children, but of 60 boys, do you not find the prospect daunting?
Not in the least, Headmaster. I have my husband's example to inspire me.
Ah, yes.
And a debt of gratitude to discharge to you.
To me, Mrs. Chipping?
My husband loves this school. He came here very young. You gave him his chance.
Well, I pride myself on knowing a good man when I see one, eh, Chipping?
Oh, that's kind of you to say so, sir.
I love Brookfield already, just for its age and traditions. I can see those boys in the time of Queen Elizabeth, in their doublets and hose and shining warning faces. And all the thousands of boys since. Our history, they lived it. I expect there was a school holiday to celebrate Waterloo.
Yes, very like.
That is what you and the school are carrying on. And I should like to be a humble part of it.
I couldn't have put it more eloquently myself. I must speak to Mrs. Meldrum, a dinner party. Certainly, a dinner party. And before the week has passed.
Cheers.
Morning, Mrs. Chipping.
Hello, Mrs. Wickett.
Oh, Mrs. Chipping, is there anything you want in the village? I'm just taking in the house food order for next week.
Hodges boys brought my order, but thank you for offering. Oh, Mrs. Wickett, you know what I said about helping you?
Yes, Mrs. Chipping.
Would you mind also if I glanced at your list? I ought to learn. You never know when you might be away.
I never go away. And touch wood, I'm never ill either.
Still, you feed the boys jolly well. I love your roasts and your shepherd's pie. But the boys do get rather a lot of stodge. I've read a good deal on food reform. We could teach them to like a little salad sometimes, and fish and fruit. Better for their health.
They get their fruit in pies. What, they don't scrump from orchards, boys being boys. And they don't like fish, and they call salad rabbit's food. Also, I have no more than my allowance to spend. And what you call stodge, Mrs. Chipping, is cheaper.
I'm sure. But we might be able to make some savings. Would you like me to look through the account book?
You may see my book any time you wish, Mrs. Chipping.
Come in. Mrs. Wickett. Which one would you choose?
I brought you my book, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Mrs. Wickett. Please, sit down. I was worried yesterday when you told me you never took a holiday.
Well, come the school holidays, I do my odd jobs here. I tidy up at home and I put up my feet when I want to.
You should get away, see some new places. I could take charge if you went.
Yes, I'm sure you would, Mrs. Chipping.
And Mr. Chipping and I know some lovely places in the Dales.
Well, if you don't mind, madam, I would sooner decide such matters for myself.
Well, do think about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Wickett, I really think if we substituted cheese for meat at one meal, we might be able to save enough to buy more fruit and vegetables.
Catherine! Oh, Mrs. Wickett?
Chips, I was talking to Mrs. Wickett about the boys' food.
Oh, yeah.
I think you better decide that with Mr. Chipping, ma'am. That's not for me to say.
Well, of course it is. You are matron.
Thank you. Am I?
Mrs. Wickett?
I think Mrs. Chipping will soon be matron of schoolhouse, sir. If you'll excuse me.
Oh, no, Mrs. Wickett, please.
Bradshaw, sir.
Pulley, sir.
Chen, sir.
I say, Tarrant, come on. Come on, Rising Bell went ages ago. Fisher told me you were groggy. Look, you'll have to report to the Sun. Come on. What's the matter?
Morning,
Good
sir.
morning, Mrs. Wickett.
Morning, ma'am. That's the usual coal order, madam. Of course, you can alter that if you wish.
Well, of course not.
And that is my linen list. I trust that's in order.
Well, I'm sure it is, Mrs. Wickett.
Thank you, ma'am, if you excuse me. Excuse me, young man. You're not supposed to use those stairs. They're private.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Wickett. It's one of the boys in the dormitory. He doesn't look at all well.
Who is it?
Tarrant.
I just don't know what to do about her. She directly consults me on everything. And when I tell her she is in charge, she says, "Very well, Ma'am," and marches off before I can say a word more.
Well, it's only anxiety, Catherine.
I would remove her anxiety if she would only listen.
Yes, I should have prepared her more for your coming. Yes?
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. I wonder if you would come with me to the junior dormitory.
I'm just having my
It's
breakfast.
young Master Tarrant, sir. I don't like the look of it at all.
Oh. Yes, all right. Excuse me, my dear.
Thank you, sir. It's 101.
It's only a cold, Wixie. I've had it for days.
It was only a cold until you went and played soccer in the rain. I told you to get off games.
It was my first match in the House 11, sir.
And a jolly good game you played.
Lie still, my little. I'm sure there's some inflammation, sir.
Will I get pneumonia? They say a jolly lot of people die of that, don't they, sir?
Well, you won't, my lad. We'll have you right in no time in the sanatorium.
Sir, don't send me to Sand. I want to stay with Wixie.
That's true. All right, chin up. Mrs. Wickett will look after you, and we'll have the doctor in to see you this morning.
Jolly good.
Look, keep cozy. You mustn't throw your blankets off no matter how hot you feel.
Like a drink, Wixie.
Looks like you. I've seen boys with this condition before.
Yes, quite right. There's a grave danger of pneumonia. I've told Mrs. Wickett to take the boy's temperature every hour. I shall be back in the afternoon.
Would you like a cup of tea, Doctor?
Oh, no, thank you, Mrs. Chipping. I have my morning round to finish. You're right to keep him where he is. He cannot be moved across to the sand in this weather. The dormitory's very draughty, however. Can you protect the boy with a screen or two?
Of course.
I shall bring some more medicine when I return. In the meantime, Mrs. Wickett has my instructions. I must bid you good morning.
Good morning, Doctor. Thank you.
Mrs. Wickett, I don't wish to interfere. But even the doctor was worried about the drafts in here. You know that snug little spare bedroom we have downstairs? I could arrange to have a fire lit now. He's your patient, Mrs. Wickett. Would you not move him there?
Yes, I would. I would indeed, Mrs. Chipping. Thank you. Just as soon as the room's warmed through.
Mr. Meldrum has sent a telegram asking the parents to come.
Good. He's up to 104 now. I'm worried, Mrs. Chipping.
At least eat something. It will go cold.
I don't like to see you doing a maid's work, Mrs. Chipping. There we are. That's a good boy. Right now, Mrs. Chipping, please. Go on. That's a good boy. There we are. Good boy. Now, Mrs. Chipping, as soon as we finish this, I think you should pop off to bed.
What about you?
Oh, I'm used to it. Oh. Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness me. How long have I been asleep?
Never mind, you'll feel better for it.
Oh, dear.
It is still 104. I've just taken it.
He's sleeping too heavy. Don't like the sound of his breathing.
Mrs. Wickett, I'm so afraid.
Is there any change?
The doctor said 24 hours. It is almost that now.
His temperature's still rising.
Is this the crisis?
Oh, Mum, I lost my own poor boy like this.
Where are the parents?
I would have been here soon, but I've been sending telegrams to Colonel Tarrant in Ireland. And that awful slow train.
Ah, here is Mr. Chipping.
Ah!
Mr. Chipping, how is Peter? Is it pneumonia?
Well, according to Dr. Gibson, you have come at the crucial time.
Please take me to my boy at once.
Of course. Headmaster?
Come in. Mrs. Tarrant.
Peter. Oh, Peter. Peter! Oh, Mrs. Wickett! Oh, no.
Oh, hush, Mum. Let him sleep. He's turned the corner.
But how can you tell me that?
His temperature's right down. I've nursed such cases. I know.
He is sleeping peacefully. Mrs. Chipping, how can I thank you? Mrs. Wickett, I am so grateful.
Wixie! Wixie! Wixie!
Call-over bell quite confuses me. It brings back such a cloud of memories that I don't know which to put down. Was it Dunster or Ogilvy who hid the sack of potatoes in the organ loft?
And the sack burst open and they all rolled out during prayers.
Yes.
That was Master Dunster, him that was drowned at the Battle of Jutland. Now, don't overdo it, sir. You know it tires you.
There followed a time of such happiness that after all these years I can hardly believe it befell me. My Catherine became an essential part of the life of the school. Her vitality, her simple, unaffected good humor made her beloved by masters and boys alike. usual French coin? That's young Stanfield?
The Brookfield Mission. We take a weekly collection from the boys. The parents send their checks. But I never hear a word spoken about the mission itself.
A lot of schools are maintaining these slum missions.
Is maintaining all we do? Does nobody ever go there? Have you been?
Never occurred to me to, nor to anyone else. Except the head. I think he went there once to some ceremony. It's in Poplar, isn't it?
Yes, it's in Poplar.
Warren of foul alleys, he said. He was most distressed. His boots were unspeakably dirty.
Chips, do you want to turn out boys like little Meldrums, to whom the slums mean nothing but dirt on their boots?
No, of course I don't. All right, Catherine. So what do you propose, eh?
Your sentiments are admirable, Chipping. I'm afraid your kind heart has got the better of you. It would be stirring up problems that are better left untouched except by the church.
Well, our boys should visit them, they should visit us. And I thought a game of football would be a start.
To bring East End hooligans here.
Well, they are as British as any Brookfield boy. We cannot just satisfy our conscience by sending them money and keeping them at arm's length.
That's a dangerous experiment. Explosive. But you are my senior master, Chipping. I will not stand in your way.
Football, not fisticuffs. Brookfield ball.
Sir, he didn't kick me. I fouled him.
Mission ball.
Thanks, mate.
You won't see the goal for cinders.
Oh, Chippy.
Hey, boss. Brookfield. 3 cheers for the mission boys. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray!
And 3 cheers for Brookfield and all.
All right, cut along, boys. Well, our little experiment went well, I think, Chipping.
Extremely well, sir.
And we beat them 7-5. To think that a gang of little ragamuffins like that could get 5 goals against Brookfield. Still, it was a good, clean game, and they behaved quite decorously at tea time. Yes, I'm glad I gave my approval to the venture. Perilous though it was.
I must congratulate you, sir.
Thank you. That's what this fellow from the county newspaper said.
What, the recorder?
Yes, he called it a bold, generous gesture of social reconciliation on my part. And what's more, he's going to use it in his leading article on Friday. It's very pleasing. Very pleasing. And I must thank you for your loyal support to the scheme, Chipping, and the hard work you put in carrying it out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chipping.
And all because the man from the local newspaper turned up, though heaven knows how he came to do so. You? Oh, you wonderful, ingenious, unpredictable girl, you.
Unpredictable? Sit down, Chips. I want to tell you something.
My dear,
I am going to have a child.
are you sure?
I saw Dr. Gibson this morning on my way to the station to meet the mission boys. I've been almost sure for a few weeks. You're not angry with me for not telling you sooner.
Angry. No, I am so grateful, so humble.
Humble? Rot. You're immensely happy, and so am I. And what's more, I've never been one for praying, but from now on, I am going to pray every night that I shall have a boy.
Catherine, you were a gift from God, so will your child be. Whether it's a boy or a girl.
You have spent your whole adult life looking after other people's boys. I want you to have one of your own.
Stand up. Stand up, boy. Barrington? That's not your locker. What's that in your hand? Show me. Is that your money? Come here. Give it to me. There's been an epidemic of stealing from the dormitories. Are you the culprit? Your countenance betrays you. What on earth has impelled you to do such a thing? This is theft. Look at me, Barrington. You're the bearer of an honored name, the heir to a great estate. Your father sends you generous pocket money, which we apportion to you amply each week. This is the meanest of crimes. It calls for the severest of punishments.
Father.
What?
Please don't tell my father, sir.
He will have to know. This is an expulsion offence. Now, the headmaster will not be back until tonight. Until then, you're confined to your dormitory. Your meals will be sent up. Return this money. This is a wretched affair. He's the last boy I would have thought of. He's such a sensitive, quiet little chap. What made him do it?
Is he bullied?
No. No, he seems to shrink from company, and the other boys leave him very much to himself.
And now you are going to expel him?
The headmaster probably will, yes.
When you have told him?
Which is my duty, Catherine.
Chips, I met that boy's parents at speech day. The mother is a social butterfly. It was quite plain to me she has no time for her son, even in the holidays. And all the father seems to care about is the hunt and his horses. The child is unloved and lonely.
But what has that to do with theft?
Let me tell you something I once did at school. Not stealing. It had to do with my friends. I think because I was an orphan, I envied them a little. And one day, in broad daylight, I deliberately broke the headmistress's window. Oh, who knows why I did it. But luckily for me, she seemed to understand and did not expel me. On the contrary, she went out of her way to be kind to me and take an interest. And it made all the difference in the world. Chips, please talk to the boy.
Barrington. I'm going to give you another chance. I'm not going to report this to the headmaster.
Oh, sir.
Now, no more blubbing. You will never do this again. Nor any other stupid or revengeful act against your schoolfellows or the good name of the school. Is that understood?
Oh, yes, sir.
Right. You haven't touched your meals.
We couldn't, sir.
Are you hungry now?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mrs. Chipping will make you some tea.
Thank you, sir.
I think you better wash your face, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Cut along. Humanity. Now, that was Catherine's gift to me.
Yes, Joseph, that's right.
Although my Catherine had a tender heart, she was no weak sentimentalist. She had a keen eye for injustice and oppression.
Did you see that, Chips?
Yes, young Merrick seems most concerned.
Awfully sorry. Are you all right, old chap?
Yes, sir.
Are you quite sure you're all right?
Can Sam be blowed? He knocked that boy over on purpose. Don't be taken in by that innocent look. The boy's a bully.
Mr. Merrick, sir. Come here, sir. What was that behaviour?
I don't know, sir.
Yes, you do.
Lex, can you lie? Now, this was a law introduced by the tribune Gaius Canuleius in the year 445 BC. It was part of the effort by the plebs, the commoners, to break the social power of the patricians, for it allowed patricians to marry commoners. Now, if you wish to memorize this law, just recall that if Miss Plebs wanted Mr. Patrician to marry her, and he said he couldn't, she'd reply, "Oh, yes, you can, you liar." Can you lie? Ah, well. And what's delayed you this time?
Sorry, sir. Porter's boy upset the mailbag, and I helped. These are for you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Sit down. Now, we mustn't waste any time if we want our exeats for the away match this afternoon. Catherine, I'm sorry. I'm off.
Oh, bye.
Bye.
Carry on, boys. Chips?
Yes?
Have you got your coat on?
Oh, no, I didn't think I needed it.
Bitterly cold out there. I'm not having you go out without it. Chips? Oh. I wish I could come to the match.
Oh, you can't. I'm taking no chances with you.
Well, enjoy yourself.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
Catherine! Catherine, the school...
Oh, sir.
Is it the baby?
My dear Chipping.
Catherine?
It was very sudden. A slip on a worn step. Premature labor. All at once, her heart stopped. The child was stillborn. It was a boy. She did not suffer. Dr. Gibson made heroic efforts, but in vain.
are all those bits of paper, sir?
It's April Fool's Day.
Don't like to leave you, sir. I'll sit with you. I'll be silent.
Please go.
Happiness of the middle-aged Chips has been shattered by the death in childbirth of his young wife, Catherine.
Arrested, sir. Morning, sir. Lane, sir.
Bradshaw, sir.
Cooley, sir.
Chen, sir.
Oh, wait, sir.
Ah, Chipping. Working late? Chipping, we've known each other for many years. You intimate you no longer wish to be housemaster of Schoolhouse. 2 lines, that's all.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have nothing more to say.
You wrote this too soon, my friend.
I considered it for many hours.
Many painful hours, which no words are. Chipping, we've known each other for over 20 years. This bleak note is not enough.
I should not have written so abruptly, so rudely.
I want you to continue. You've done wonders here.
I have. For over 20 years, I've been a good enough teacher, efficient, uninspired, no better than any other. No, it was she who transformed the house.
Sona, how much we have to mourn. I want you to continue the work.
No, sir, I haven't the heart. To teach boys is one thing, but to care for them like a father, to listen to their troubles. I'm sorry, sir.
I'm sorry, too. I cannot accept this resignation. You will become calmer. Then, if you still wanted to stand, you must come and see me. I better leave you to your work. A cheerless comfort, but a help. Chipping, I beg you to reconsider.
You can't give up Schoolhouse, sir.
I've signified my intention to do so.
Schoolhouse is your life, sir.
You will remain as matron. You must.
Of course I shall stay. Those are my boys, sir. And yours, sir.
Mine?
Yes, your boys. Oh, sir, I know what you grieve for. We were two young people when we first started at this school, and on that first day, you said no running away.
Mrs.
Now,
Wickett,
please let
would
me
you-
finish. If someone we both loved was here...
Stop it.
Now, she was not one for running away, sir.
No, she was not. All right. I want all these curtains taken away. All the carpets, all the flowers. All the beautiful things that she brought here. It's the reminders I cannot bear. And in future, I'll sleep in the spare bedroom. Later, I was glad I had stayed. Gradually, the work filled up the emptiness of mind and heart. In 1900, Mr. Meldrum died. He was almost 70, still in harness, signing letters when he collapsed at his desk.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. In sure and certain hope of the resurrection to eternal life through our Lord Jesus Christ.
Ah, Sir John.
Chips at last.
Sorry to have kept you waiting.
I have got a little business to talk over with you.
Hmm?
Chips, I am chairman of the school governors and a general in Her Majesty's Army. I'm accustomed to being listened to.
Sorry.
So, you're looking after the paperwork and chairing the staff meetings and so on?
Well, only pro tem. Someone has to keep the wheels turning, and I'm senior.
Exactly. Acting headmaster, eh?
Simply a locum tenens.
Sit down. It suits you.
What does?
The headmaster's chair. Chips, when the governors meet next month, you will be appointed the official headmaster of Brookfield School.
No, Sir John.
You're refusing? Have you no ambition, man?
There is nothing more on earth that I would wish for except to teach and care for my boys.
Well, as headmaster...
The headmaster has no time for such things. He's an administrator, an overseer, a diplomat. I'm none of these.
I don't understand. Truly. Chips. Double take it, I can't miss that train. Chips, you're harder to break than a Boer commando. But we shall wear down their resistance, and I shall wear down yours.
Right, there's the bell. Would you pass your books? This is not a rugby game. Would you go, please?
You wasted the whole lesson, Creevy. Look at him. Loving.
I ate you masters for my supper.
Bring in.
Ah, good morning, Mr. Kemp.
Good morning, sir. I'm awfully sorry, sir.
You've only been here 3 days. You'll soon learn the ways of schoolmastering. You've got Creevy, haven't you?
I have, sir. But I can cope with him, sir. I must do it if I'm to remain here.
We haven't had a chance to talk since you arrived. Why don't you come and have supper with me tonight?
Thank you, sir.
After prep, say, 7:30. You are older than Creevy. You can win a battle of wits against a lout.
I'll set my wits to work then, sir.
Good. Till tonight, then.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Come on, boys.
I didn't steal the apples, sir. I was only scrumping.
You went into Mr. Garraway's orchard and helped yourself without paying and without permission.
I only took 4, sir. They were
leaves on the trees.
Look, I went scrumping at your age. It seems innocent enough, doesn't it? But it is stealing.
Yes, sir.
You know the Ten Commandments, don't you? It would be a sin even if the orchard belonged to a millionaire. Now, Gadaway is a poor man. He's got a small farm and a large family. Suppose a lot of chaps went scrumping there. He wouldn't have heaps of apples then, would he?
No, sir. I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Yes, I think you are. Now, go to Mr. Gadaway, apologize, and pay for the apples, and we'll say no more about it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, cut along. Next. Ah, Mr. Creevy.
Sir?
Stand up straight. So you think you can bullyrag your masters, do you? You know what I'm talking about.
Mr. Kemp never said anything to me, sir.
Mr. Kemp has said nothing to me. This is a school punishment. No, Creevy, I shall not cane you. I'm not going to change my ways for you. Instead, you will translate one page of Book 4 of the Aeneid every night for the remainder of this term. And if any page is careless, scrawled, blotted, or cribbed, and I do know every crib in print, it will be done again with the next night. You will hand it to me every morning after chapel. And Creevy, if there's any recurrence of this misconduct, I shall expel you. Is that understood?
Sir.
Now go.
Chips, the governors are waiting for me. I have to start the meeting. I appeal to you. Once more, allow me to nominate you for the headmastership.
And once more, Sir John, I must decline, grateful though I am.
It's heartbreaking. You are Brookfield. The school wants you. Doesn't want some stranger.
I hear you found a good man.
Him? Well, we called him for a second interview. We had to. The other applicants weren't worth tuppence. He'll be over there in the waiting room now. Too confident by half amongst all those empty chairs.
But I'm told this Mr. Ralston has got a double first, a rugger blue, a list of formidable achievements at his last school. I'm also told he's got an imposing presence. Now, that sort of thing will impress the parents. He's your man.
Well, Chips. I know when I'm beaten. Well, you better give us 30 minutes to get it all over and done with. Then come over and have a sherry with your new headmaster.
It's good to see you, Chips.
My lord.
You are looking well. And allow me to say you've administered the school nobly in this past month.
Thank you.
One could not have wished for better. Mr. Ralston, allow me to introduce Mr. Chipping, who has been our acting headmaster.
How do you do, Mr. Ralston?
How do you do?
Sherry, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chipping has seen the generations come and go. And my two sons included. He's the living repository of our history and will be your fount of information.
Mr. Ralston can count on me and all my colleagues, I'm sure. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah.
I shall spend a month making my assessment of the school. At the end of it, I shall lay before the governors a list of such changes and improvements as I propose.
The changes will not be too drastic, I hope. Brookfield's been here for 400 years.
I am aware of its age, Mr. Chipping, and I shall cherish its traditions, but progress comes first.
Ah, progress, yes.
You must be getting on yourself, Mr. Chipping, since you are so long at the school.
Well, I'm 52.
52, indeed. Well, that is not the end, is it? Not by a few years. My lord, will you join me? I have a question I wish to ask Lord Oxter, which I think may...
Yes, of course. I must confess that I found it hard to believe that Mr. Ralston was the right man to be headmaster of Brookfield. However, during the few weeks before he arrived, I decided that I ought to give him the benefit of the doubt. After all, the proof of the pudding,
Ah, you're,
Chipping, headmaster.
You underestimate me, Mr. Chipping. I do not forget names.
Oh, I was just packing up.
Pray, don't hurry. You must have become accustomed to this room.
I prefer my own.
Must be just a little loath to leave it.
Not in the least, headmaster. I've no regrets.
Man has his ambitions, has he not?
Mine are long fulfilled.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. In my experience, lack of ambition leads inexorably to lack of effort. My inaugural reception was a pleasant affair, was it not?
Most enjoyable.
The bishop, you know, is very influential among the higher clergy. And Lord Oxtead's weekend parties are famous. I imagine my predecessor gave them a lot of his time.
Mr. Meldrum met them at governors' meetings, yes.
Only then? Ah. A de mortuus nil nisi bonum, but not a man of enterprise, I fear. And just think what a field of recruitment is open for the school if such friends are cultivated and properly, used. Well, I shall change all that along with much else.
I do not doubt it, headmaster, but not too quickly.
Ah, yes, you are the traditionalist, are you not? Well, times change, and schools must change with them. Thank you, Mr. Chipping. I shall see you when I address the staff.
Come on, Marston. Finish your construes. And you, Phillips, James. Mustn't keep Mr. Ponsonby waiting.
I say, sir, Caesar had a short way with some of these Gallic tribes. Just chop them up in small pieces.
Yeah, Caesar would have called it the March of Progress.
We'd soon finish off the Boer War if we did a bit of that.
It'd serve the rotters right.
Why do you think the Boers are such rotters?
They won't come out and fight us, sir.
They shoot from behind hills and then gallop away.
What do you think that kind of warfare's called?
Guerrilla warfare, sir?
Yes. And considering the Boers are only farmers, isn't that the best method they could adopt?
I say, sir, you're not a pro-Boer, are you?
Or against the Empire?
Oh, heaven forbid. We've given a quarter of the earth a civilization more advanced and infinitely more humane than that of ancient Rome. And I'm very proud of the fact that many of our former pupils are in the service of the Empire.
Well, then the Boers are rotters for getting in our way.
You've heard of Caractacus, have you not?
The ancient Britain, sir. The chief who fought against the Romans.
Well, he got in the way of a great empire and its great army. Rather brave, I would say, wouldn't you? And what about Hereward the Wake?
The Saxons, sir. You mean that was guerrilla warfare too, sir?
Yes, against a mighty Norman army, and it's quite impressive civilization.
But that's hardly the same thing, sir.
Oh, I don't know. The poor old Saxons only wanted to keep their own land and live in their own way.
Well, then maybe there isn't a difference between them and the Boers.
You can't really mean that, sir.
I might. Decide amongst yourselves. Right, cut along.
Mr. Chipping, please sit down.
Thank you, Headmaster.
I received a most disturbing letter.
Oh?
It is from the father of one of our fifth form boys who wrote home that you were spreading ideas that favored our enemies.
Oh, yes, I've no need to read it. I remember the occasion.
Mr. Chipping, I cannot tolerate that one of my masters should hold, or let alone propagate, anti-patriotic views.
I neither hold nor propagate such views. I mean, evidently the boy wrote a fragmentary, angry and misleading account, as not only boys do.
Then I have your assurance that the boy wrote untruthfully.
Well, I imagine not. Let's be fair to him. I suggested that there were two sides to every case.
Not when one is at war.
Headmaster, you are a science man, but I'm sure you recall the verb educere. It means to lead or draw out from people their full capacities. That is education.
What about a reply to this?
I suggest you pass on what I've just said to you. Is there anything else?
No. Mr. Chipping, you will in future confine yourself to the ancient world and leave the modern world to those who are of it.
Of course. But you know, we teach ancient history that modern morals may be drawn. An age ended when the old queen died. And in the years of King Edward that followed, we became used to strikes, to unemployed marches, aristocratic scandals, and a small army of women fighting like wildcats for the vote. My Catherine would have approved. At Brookfield, well, life continued peacefully. On the surface. Mr. Ralston was a live wire. He made the school more widely known, and there was a waiting list. I hope I served him loyally, but our outlooks did conflict, and we both knew it. He had rid himself of other masters, but I felt myself protected by my age and seniority.
Now, come along, boys. Step forward for call over. In a line, please. You, Ainsworth, have you written to your mother?
Oh, Bradley.
Sir, it was only for a joke.
Your music hall turn would be much better if you put this on. There. On with the motley.
The perfect schoolmaster. And these.
I need hardly remind you that your prep should be neat as well as accurate.
Bravo! Mores quorum se interludendum detegunt.
Quintilian, sir. Nos liberi patrum imitavamur.
My boys, to work.
Sir.
Oh, Fowler. Hot water again, eh? Headmaster, you wish to see me?
Yes. Mr. Chipping, I see that you have now attained your 60th year.
Indeed. Mr. Forbes was kind enough to give me a sherry party. I'm sorry you weren't able to come.
I had a prior engagement.
Oh.
Mr. Chipping, have you ever thought you might like to retire?
No, I can't say I have.
Then I suggest that you do.
But I don't see why I don't want to retire.
In which case, things are going to be a little difficult.
Difficult? Why?
Since you forced me to use plain words, Mr. Chipping, you shall have them. For some time past, you have not been pulling your weight here. Your methods of teaching are slack and old-fashioned. Your personal habits are slovenly, and you ignore my instructions to the point of insubordination.
Slovenly? Insubordination?
Look at your wretched gown! Only this morning, I saw quite unintentionally a group of your boys aping you, laughing at you while you stood by idle, nay, abetting them.
When have I been insubordinate?
I told you years ago that I wanted the new style of Latin pronunciation used throughout the school. Other masters have obeyed me, you have ignored me, and the result is absolute chaos.
I do not agree with the new pronunciation. Well, just imagine, instead of saying vicisssim, the new version is weakissim. Huh.
Last year, a number of your boys even failed to pass the lower certificate. Inefficient teachers are not wanted here, and I make no exceptions.
Inefficient? Some of my boys did not get through, but in what school do they all pass?
Mr. Chipping.
What does it matter, these examinations and certificates, this efficiency and up-to-dateness? Headmaster, you are turning this school into a snob factory for the sons of moneybags who can't get into Eton or Harrow. Brookfield is not here to sell knowledge like bags of sugar. It is to bring up boys to become thinking, honourable, useful men who heed the word of God and the voice of conscience.
Mr. Chipping, that is enough.
Oh,
you have surpassed the limits of my forbearance. Whether you have the decency to resign or whether you must be retired, I can tolerate your antics no longer. If you really care so very much for Brookfield, then the sooner you remove yourself from its vicinity, the better.
Sir, you can't resign.
Well, I don't know what to do. Perhaps I went too far.
No, you were right, sir. He's a bane in the school, that Ralston.
He is the headmaster, though.
Worse luck. Sir, whatever should I do without you and the boys? It would take the heart right out of the school.
It was not his talk of my resigning that hit me hardest. Well, it was his statement that I should remove myself from Brookfield. Remove myself? This is my home. It's my life. What's it back?
I've made a noise like that since my wedding night. Oh, sir, come in, quickly.
An unmitigated cat. Yes! We ought to break his windows. That's what we ought to do. Come on, chaps. Now, we're going to break those windows, boys.
Yes, it's all of you. Move when I tell you.
I'm going to write to the pater. You must do the same.
I will not have this school disgraced.
I told Ralston this was signed by every master in the school. I nearly added that he ought to clear out, the filthy slave driver. Chips, I'm awfully sorry. The head wouldn't even accept our petition. But you must stand firm.
Must I? Should I? I'd rather sacrifice anything than perpetuate discord at Brookfield.
John? Yeah. On my way to Aldershot for a field exercise. I have to break my journey to put down a mutiny at Brookfield.
Yes, well, I'm sorry about this.
Chips, I have been inundated with letters. Parents, boys themselves, old boys, got to hear about it. The masters have sent me their petition.
Do you mean?
I've been in touch with every single one of the governors, and I've come to tell you they are behind you to a man.
Well, I had thought for the school's sake I ought to resign.
Chips, the governors don't want you to resign. Brookfield wouldn't be the same without you. You can stay here till you're 100 if you like. And we hope you will. I'll leave you now, my fella. I shall go over and have a diplomatic little talk with Ralston. You'll have no more trouble after that. But I may come back for some tea, mayn't I?
Oh, of course, of course.
You see, Chips, we all love you.
Carry on. You must be our new German master, hmm?
Stefan. No. Max, Stefan.
Ah, Chipping. Chipping.
Of course, you must be the famous Mr. Chips. You will excuse the familiarity.
Hello, Chips. Hello, didn't know you.
Oh, well, this is Herr Stapel, our new German master. Now, this is Harry Kemp, Ponsonby, and young Marlowe.
How do you do? How do you do? Don't approve of this craze for teaching modern language. Latin, Greek, and a lick of French were good enough when I was a boy.
Let us hope that by learning each other's languages, we may become better friends.
Well, let us hope the Kaiser is as keen to be friends as Herr Stapel.
Oh, come. The Kaiser's grandmother's Queen Victoria.
Almost one of our royal family.
Yes, they say there's a rogue in every family. I beg your pardon, Herr Stapel. Hope I don't offend you.
No. I am one of many, many Germans who are dismayed by the policies to which the Kaiser is being persuaded by his general staff.
Not enough of you to stop him, it seems. Building battleships to outnumber our navy. Biggest army in Europe. Speeches about blood and art.
Going to expect that now from the Kaiser?
Gentlemen, I have just had an interview with the headmaster, and I'm permitted to tell you that he will shortly be leaving us.
Ah, Ralston leaving, that is good news.
Where's he going, Chips?
Oh, I won't name the school, but it has been described as a large and expensive snob factory.
Ralston will be in his element.
Chips, this is wonderful. They must make you headmaster now.
Oh, no. New man's already been appointed. He's young, 34, with a brilliant natural science tripos.
I shall meet the rest of the staff today, Mr. Chipping, but I wished first to come and pay my respects to you.
Well, that's most kind of you, Mr. Chatteris, and most thoughtful.
I hope you like cherry cake, sir. All my other young gentlemen do.
My house matron is a jewel beyond price. First day, eh?
Yes, I must say I do feel a bit like a new boy.
You can count on me, Headmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Chipping. I believe I have a great deal to learn from you.
Oh, I'm a classicist. Your own province, that of science. Total mystery to me.
Science or classics, it is the blend that matters. As with tea, I'm sure. One must still teach good manners, good sense, kindness.
I rejoice to hear you say so. This new century's been a nightmare to me. I cling to the past, you see.
Yes, I agree the new century is vulgar and mad and unforeseeable, but Brookfield has 400 years of good to pass on to its pupils.
Yes, the new headmaster liked my tea. And I liked him. He was right about the new century, though. People began to use the word headlines, and sinister headlines they often were.
The Agadir business looks bad. German Grand Fleet is said to be making ready for sea. Now our ships are assembling too.
Stefan, what are all your peace-loving Germans doing about it? Listening to Schubert, no doubt, and heaving sentimental sighs while their battleships steam out to bully Europe.
There are bullies in every land.
There'll be a compromise. It'll blow over as usual.
For the time being. What is the matter with the British workmen? This railway strike's been going on for 3 weeks. No sign of a break.
No, it really is disgraceful. There's been stone throwing at the soldiers driving the trains. In many places, volunteers are patrolling the lines to prevent this violence.
I say, you know, that's what our boys ought to be doing.
A very good idea. If the head agrees, we can put it to the boys at Callover.
But our little branch line? Boy, so peaceful, nothing worse than a stray car will ever disrupt the trains.
It would teach the boys to be good citizens.
Your pet principle, I've always understood, Chips.
Hmm? Oh, a bit of fresh air, I suppose, will do them no harm. What are those boys up to? Crick-legged? Quis custodiet ipsos custodies, eh? All right.
Well, yes, but what if the strikers turn up? What should we do if we meet any?
Would you like to meet a striker?
I don't know, sir.
You can meet one. Mr. Jones here, he's a striker.
If your lads would like a nice cup of tea after finishing playing about down there, come and see the missus.
When Mr. Jones is on duty, he's in charge of the signal box at the station. You put your life in his hands many a time.
But, sir...
We're all the same flesh and blood, Crick-legged. Now, we're all British. Have faith in your country and your countrymen, eh? Now, if I were you, I'd go and try for a cup of tea.
Come on, lad.
Thank you.
Young Max Stapel and I became firm friends. He was a great admirer of English countryside. So that summer, I took him on a walking tour in the hills where I first met my Catherine. Oh, so long ago.
On a weeping willow tree, and may the world go well with thee, well with thee.
Now, I think it's better.
You say that is better than a Heidelberg drinking song?
Yeah. That is not something I rejoice in. Man does not need wings.
Why? In the future, they will span the world and bring nation closer to nation.
Well, the future's for you young fellas. I'd go back to the stagecoach if I could.
Chips.
chest complaint been a bit troublesome lately. You're buying the tea. What?
The Balkan War crisis is still given a lot of space.
Oh, well, both sides have accepted the British proposal for a peace conference, haven't they?
An international force is to be sent by the European powers to police the disputed area.
Good, good.
So it will be from now on. You have taught me that tea is a beverage of infinite variety. Chips, you must do something about that cough.
Oh, there's nothing I can do about Anno Domini. I'm 65 years old, my friend. It's a retirement age.
You speak of retirement?
I had hoped to carry on. But in fairness to the school, I must think about my declining health.
You will never retire.
I was much moved by the boys' presentation to you. It was obviously a genuine expression of their feelings, Chips.
Very well.
Must have been a very long day for you.
On a splendid day.
Indeed. Nevertheless, I should just like to say that although we mark your retirement with an evening of jovial fellowship, we are all nonetheless sad at heart to lose you, Chips.
Yes, yes.
To wake up without Chips in our midst will be like waking up with Chapel or Big Hall no longer with us. And we wish you many years of health, rest, and recreation. And may this token, a gift from your affectionate colleagues, tell only happy hours for you. Oh. God bless you, Chips.
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 Good health.
Chips.
Speech.
Chips.
Speech from Chips. Silence. Silence for Chips.
Headmaster, colleagues, friends, I'm much moved by the splendid gift. But if you think you're going to wake up without Chips in your midst, you're very much mistaken. I'm only moving just outside the gate to the house of the good Mrs. Wickett.
Oh, that is splendid, Chips.
And from there, I shall not only be able to keep an eye on you, but continue to play what part I can in the life of the school.
Oh, magnificent.
Do you know? I was thinking only the other day, I have been here for over 40 years. It has been my life. And as I said this afternoon to the boys, I remember so many changes, but I shan't bore you with them.
No.
Perhaps I should write them down in a book. Now what should I call it? Memories of Rod and Lines. Yes. Yes, I remember so many things. So many faces. I can't forget them. Faces of thousands of boys. I could only reminisce you habit. Do you know, Headmaster, if I haunt you when I'm gone, just think of me as a friendly ghost. But until then, I intend to remain active amongst you. And active I was. I dined with the head and sometimes with the masters. I attended every school activity. I became editor of the Brookfield Directory. I was elected president of the Old Boys Club and went to dinners in London. I wrote articles for the school magazine. And I read my Times every morning very thoroughly. I was always a welcome guest in the common room. And my hard-fought chess games with Max Stafel became a regular event. It was at this time that I introduced another custom, one that I have kept up to this day, of inviting all the new boys to tea.
Might as well finish up the beer before the holidays. It's damn clean as through the lot if you leave it.
Cheerio, everyone. Have a good summer, all of you. Where are you off to? Staying with friends in Devon.
Oh,
Must be the best July we've had in years. I mean to get in a devil of a lot of swimming. Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye, Chips.
Bye, Richard.
Where are you off to, Staple? Back to the fatherland?
To my mother, in Wiesbaden. I shall be back on the 1st of September before term starts. Chips has invited me to stay.
To continue our tournament. Yeah, nearly everyone's off already and Miss Burston with goodbyes.
Not this one, Chips. Till September.
I'll look after your chess set. Farewell, Max.
Mr. Ponsonby?
Wiesbaden, eh? Delightful town. Let's go there again one day.
Mr. Kemp? Goodbye, all.
Bye. Bye, Max.
Chips, old man, don't be too sure of your chess. I'm off to territorial camp next week, and after that, who knows? I have a friend at the War House. He says it's touch and go.
Unthinkable. I was convinced almost until the last moment that common sense and humanity would prevail and that conflict would be averted. But I was wrong. In 1914, the great powers muddled and drifted their way into war.
I'm sorry to lose you, Marlowe. Stebbings and Hale have already gone. I can ill spare you chaps. But the country needs soldiers.
The job has got to be done, Headmaster.
Indeed it has. Come. Ah, Chips, thanks for coming.
Headmaster, look who I found. Captain Kemp.
Hi.
Good
sir.
Lord,
Kemp, stand easy, stand
Welcome
easy.
home.
Hello, you. Headmaster.
What brings you back to Brookfield?
I got the day off. Well, tell you the truth, and in confidence, we're off to France any day.
Oh, that's splendid news.
With a lot of other TA battalions, reinforce the BEF. We'll have the Huns licked by Christmas.
Doesn't give me much chance.
First come, first served. I hope you get over in time for the fun.
Thanks. Bye, Chips.
Oh, God bless you, Richard. Come and see me when you got leave, eh?
Of course I will.
Goodbye and good luck, Marlowe.
Thank you, Headmaster. Well, off I go then.
Yes, I'll come down to the common room with you. See who's about. I'll see you later.
I say, Headmaster, if you're going to join up, well, you heard Kemp. You'd better hurry.
Evidently, young Marlowe thinks I am a shirker.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's not the first to drop a hint. I am of military age. I learned some time ago that I have a heart condition, and I could never get into the army. But I don't see why I should pin a doctor's certificate on my door. However, that's not what I wanted to speak to you about. Chips, I need you.
You need me?
You see how it is? All the young masters are joining up. Every school in the country is competing for the best of the older men. I'm interviewing duds and crocks, and I may be forced to take them.
Headmaster, you want me to come back, don't you?
It won't be a lot of hard work, just taking classes when you can. That is, if you feel up to it, Chips.
Oh, if I feel up to it. Will tomorrow be too soon? Lex Cannula. Now, this was a law introduced by the Tribune Gaius Cannularius in the year 445 BC. And it was part of the effort by the plebs, the commoners, to break the social power of the patricians. But it permitted patricians to marry commoners. Now, if you wish to memorize this law, just recall that if Miss Pleb wanted Mr. Patrician to marry her and he said he couldn't, she'd reply, "Oh, yes, you can, you liar." Forrester, what have you got there? Ah, it's the official manual for the short magazine Lee Enfield Service Rifle. Now, that's very praiseworthy, but it's nothing to do with the Lex Cannularia.
Sorry, sir.
Are you thinking of offering your services to the Crown? You are rather diminutive, you know.
I'm doing exercises, sir. I mean to go when I'm old enough.
I see. The war will be over by then. I must warn you that Captain Kemp, who's in France now, told me before he left that it'll be over by Christmas.
Harry! Harry!
My dear fellow.
Good to be back, Chips. Even if I am a bit late. Didn't I say something about the war being over by last Christmas? Well, 1915 hasn't been a particularly good year.
I'm sorry about your arm.
Oh, Chips. I'm one of the lucky ones. Won't stop me teaching, eh?
Yeah. Chatteris, he'll be pleased to see you back. We're short of good teachers.
Yes, I passed a couple of aged imbeciles on my way in.
Oh, well, you'll see them all in chapel. You are coming over, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Yes, a few thanks to offer up.
It is now once again my painful duty to announce to you the names of former pupils of this school which appear in the casualty list of fallen officers. Richard James, Captain, Royal Artillery, killed in action. A pupil of this school from 1898 to 1903. Henry Mathias, Lieutenant, King's Own Royal Regiment, died of wounds. Peter Terris, 2nd Lieutenant, Irish Guards, killed in action. Peter was with us from 1909 to 1914 and took a commission on the outbreak of war. We all offer our sympathy to his younger brother, Robert, of the 5th Form, who is with us at our prayers tonight. To you and to your family, Robert, we can only say, in your sorrow, dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. We shall now rise and sing hymn number 403.
You know, I knew every one of those boys. Every one. Robert.
Sir?
Well, I'm sorry to hear about your brother.
My dad's out there with the regiment, sir. He's going to get me a commission when I leave next year.
We'll be there, Bob. Oh, my brave boys. Eh? All right. Come in.
Excuse me, sir. It's a message from the headmaster. He's unwell again. Please, would you take chapel for him this evening?
Of course. Thank you, Mrs. Wickett.
Thank you, sir.
And Thomas Hollingbury, Royal Navy, lost at sea. Thomas was in my house till 1909. He was proud of the Navy. His family had been represented in it for 5 generations. He was an only son. And now, before we sing the hymn, I've got one more announcement to make to you. After much delay, a letter has reached me from Germany. It comes from the mother of Lieutenant Max Steffel, who was killed early this year while serving in the Ypres sector. Those of you who were here before the war will remember Max Steffel. He was not only an excellent teacher, but was an example to pupil and colleague alike of kindness, humanity, and culture. I mourn him as a true and irreplaceable friend.
It was an outrage, Chipping, an outrage. You abused the privileged position conferred on you by your age. You abused the trust the headmaster placed in you.
And you insulted our own dead by polluting the air with the name of an enemy. A Hun. A filthy Hun. Yes, Kemp, you're the one to tell this wicked...
Now, that's enough, Ponsonby. I fought against Fritz. He's a pretty good chap.
Master was a pretty good chap.
The only good German's a dead German.
They're better sportsmen than you armchair heroes. I should know. I lost my arm up at Wipers. Same place Staffel went west. Perhaps he was in the lot opposite us, standing like us up to the knees in freezing water and getting shelled to glory. And singing carols to us in between. Oh, yes. And we sang carols back.
Kemp, I fear you must be shell-shocked.
Shell-shocked? I've killed Germans, and I'd kill a few more if I had my arm back. But I'd as soon do for some of the gas bags I have to listen to at home.
Harry.
Come on, Chips. I can't take poor old Staple's place at chess. I'll give you a game of drafts.
On guard, punch through. Next two, on guard. Go. Now, scream, bang, in, out, on guard, punch through. Snarl like tigers, I said. Next man, on guard. Go. In, out, on guard, follow through. Next man. Punch through, scream, hey, kill him. Next man, on guard. Go. In, out. Senior cadet squad, sir. Extra bayonet practice. They lack ferocity. They need ferocity, sir.
You mean? I don't blame them. It does seem a very vulgar way of killing someone.
Sir?
Yes, Rollin?
Sir, Headmaster's compliments, sir. Would you kindly join him in his study?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Now, he won't have to meet no one hand-to-hand, but you will. Next man, on guard.
I'm sorry to have thrust this problem upon you so suddenly, Sir John.
I quite understand.
But after my last attack, there's simply no way that I could continue at Brookfield. So, come. Chips. Thanks for coming.
Oh, Sir John, I'm so proud to see you a Major General. It's long overdue, long overdue.
Thank you, Chips. Thank you.
At the end of term, I'm going into a nursing home.
Well, you have been looking a little tired.
I'm not coming back, Chips. I'm retiring. Doctor's orders.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Governors want you to take over, Chips.
To take over?
We'd like you just to carry on. For the duration.
What, just a question of doing my bit, eh?
For the duration.
Well, yes, of course, of course.
Splendid. I'm so relieved. I'll go and arrange for some tea. Sir John would...
He's a dying man. He and I knew that, but it's come sooner than we thought.
Poor Chatteris.
You'll have to take over at once. That means this minute, Chips.
I am ready.
Great War is at its height. Not only have many of Chip's former pupils been killed, but also his best friend, the German master.
Arrested, sir.
Blank, sir.
Bradshaw, sir.
Cooley, sir.
Chen, sir.
So I was to be the headmaster of Brookfield after all. But only as long as the war should last. After nearly 2 years of deadlock, our generals planned a great summer offensive to break through the enemy lines into the open country beyond. July the 1st, 1916. The Battle of the Somme.
Masters, boys of the school, even as I speak, the greatest battle the world has ever known is taking place. The War Office has published the first list of officers killed in the offensive. And it includes the names of 23 former boys of this school. Anderson, M.R., Lieutenant, Royal Scots. Michael Anderson went up to Oxford in 1912. And there he won the Newdigate Prize for poetry. Do you know, he used to send me his verses. He was an outstanding poet, destroyed in the flower of his youth. Balzaghetti, E.J., Major, Royal Corps of Signals. He was in schoolhouse from 1899 to 1904. He was a most ingenious inventor, even as a boy, and became an expert in telephone communications. He was so gentle. Browning F., Lieutenant Sherwood Foresters. Frederick Browning was at the school from 1910 to 1915.
Old men are like that.
He was commissioned earlier this year and came to see me on his embarkation 4 weeks ago.
You know his dad was wounded.
Lieutenant. Right.
Well, at least he wasn't killed.
He was in Blue House.
Honestly, this is ridiculous. Greek translation. We'll be officers in a fortnight's time. Officers and gentlemen.
You're right. Old Ponsonby can whistle for his Greek.
That's the spirit. What do you think is the matter with Bob?
I don't know. He's been strange since he went to the hospital.
His father must have been pretty badly wounded. Oh, hello, Bob.
You doing that Thucydides for old Ponsonby?
No. Good.
Nor are we. Look here, Bob. I hate to butt in. Is your dad... I mean... is his life in danger?
I wish it were.
What on earth do you mean? Look, old chap, we're this light.
Shut up.
I was only trying to cheer you up.
Be quiet. Is there anything we can do?
Just leave me alone.
We really ought to go and see your dad.
No! Now leave me alone.
Right. Going for a walk? Sorry, Bob. Awfully sorry.
Come in. Harry?
Sorry, Chips. Going to chuck a problem into your lap. Rather a nasty one, I'm afraid. Inside you.
Terrace?
You're looking at the best platoon commander in the OTC. All of a sudden, he won't parade. He won't put on a uniform.
Why not?
It's wrong, sir.
What's wrong?
The war is wrong, sir.
You're going in the Guards in a few weeks.
I'm not, sir.
You are, man. You've been interviewed. You've had your medical. You've signed your enlistment papers. Hell's bells, you're in the army as soon as it wants you.
I shan't go. I've written to the War Office.
You went to see your father in hospital the other day, didn't you? Now, has it got anything to do with that? Harry?
Yes, of course.
You can tell me. Sit down. You've suffered some terrible shock, haven't you? You can trust me.
I couldn't talk to anyone, sir. I couldn't. Sir, I went with Mother to the hospital. The doctor told us it was very bad before we went into the room. Sir, my dad has no arms or legs or face. He can't see, speak, or hear. The doctor says he will live.
Oh, God have mercy on us.
Mother just sat in a chair, looking. Sir, I thought I was going to be sick. I ran out. I blubbed in the corridor. There was an officer there, watching me. He was in a sort of long basket chair on wheels, under a blanket. I think he had no legs. He sounded a bit mad. He asked me what I was snivelling about. He said there were hospitals full of hulks. That was the word he used, sir. Hulks. Like that. And the same on the other side. And then he started swearing at the newspapers. He said it was all lies. Half the new army is dead. All of his battalion but 50 men. And we haven't advanced on the Somme, only a few hundred yards here and there. He said it's all been a shambles, a failure, the same as every other push. A nurse came and wheeled him away. I went back in and took Mother home.
How was she when you left?
Mother was always one for the stiff upper lip. She came downstairs the next morning and told me to go back to school. She said we must carry on.
After what you've just told me, any words of comfort would seem cheap and useless. I think I understand you now.
Yes, sir.
But, Terence, I must say more. You are a man. You must learn to master yourself as others have had to. You must try to think clearly.
I have done, sir. The war is wrong.
If you do not answer the call, you will be a deserter. It's too late to plead conscientious objection, and you can be shot for desertion.
I'm not going to plead anything. I'm not going.
Well, I'm an old man living in safety. I cannot utter the exhortations of an armchair patriot to a boy of fighting age. But I am a patriot. I believe that my country is fighting the good fight. I honor Brookfield boys who serve and many of whom fall. Well, I can say no more. I shall not be your conscience, that is your own. The OTC here at school is a voluntary body. You are, of course, excused from that. But I beg of you, despite your shock and grief, to think again. I pray you come to your right mind.
I have, sir. The war is wrong.
Harry, did you order this?
I did. 10 times round Senior Field every morning.
Why'd you penalise him? I've excused him, OTC.
This has nothing to do with OTC. I'm not penalising him. I've ordered it for his health. The good of his soul. Sweat the nonsense out of him.
This is persecution. You do know that his roommates have left him.
I don't blame them. No one likes a coward.
This is not cowardice.
What would you call it?
A tragic moral courage. Greater, perhaps, than the courage required to fight. he faces a worse hell than France.
There's no hell worse than France.
I've spent 46 years of my life teaching boys to seek the truth, to serve God, and to obey the commands of their conscience. Now, here is a boy who's attempted to do all these things, have made him an outcast. Let us not heap further tortures on him.
You force me to say this, Chips. It's your age. You're a weepy old granddad.
I think not. I've tried to make him see that his duty. But I'll not have him driven to it. I'll not have him bullied.
You've never had to bully men to go over the top. Keep out of this, Chips. Leave him to me.
You'll stop this punishment. Now, that's an order, Harry. An order.
Very well. Sir.
Stings, goodbye. Need more books, just right.
Can't read, sir.
Bye, Kenna.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye.
We'll miss the old school. See you when it's all over, sir.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Look after yourself. Bye, Mrs. Wickes. We'll miss you. Bye-bye.
Last of them?
Yeah. And the other one?
Downstairs. He's been having a cup of tea with me in the kitchen.
Tell him to come up, will you?
Master Terrace, come up, please. Go in, you bothersome boy.
Sir?
Do you know the moment term ends, the school becomes empty? It all looks unreal. Huh? You're determined to pursue your course?
Yes, sir.
You do know that you'll be arrested, don't you?
Yes, sir.
You are going to wait.
I'm not going to run away, sir. I'm not a deserter.
No. So you will, you'll wait at home then, will you?
No, sir. Mother won't have me in the house. She says I'm no son of hers until I go out and avenge Dad and Peter.
Oh. So where will you go?
I don't know, sir.
And the foxes have holes, the birds of the air have nests.
Sir?
Huh? Oh. Well, you're one of my boys. You'll wait here.
I couldn't, sir. You must hate the sight of me.
You are one of my boys. You're one of Mrs. Wickett's. Now, we will not speak of this matter again, unless, of course, you wish to. Mrs. Wickett will make up a bed for you, or you'll be our guest. At least we can offer you a little peace and company, eh?
Until they come. Thank you, sir.
There we are, Constable. That be Mrs. Wickett's.
This is your last chance, Terrace. There's still time. I can make it all right. We'll get rid of that village bobby with some tail, then I'll get on to the War Office. Tell them you're ready for service.
Mrs. Wickett has lured him into the kitchen. We have a few minutes.
Just say the word.
I wish I could, sir.
You can.
You've been jolly decent, Mr. Kemp. I won't keep the chap waiting. Sir, I'll never forget you.
Goodbye, Robert. God guide you well.
Goodbye, Mr. Kemp.
Damn this war.
In 1918, the madness of war came to an end. It was formally decided that the armistice should take effect on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour.
Prefects, go to every form in the school and tell them the rest of the day's a holiday. Why so glum, Wallace?
I shan't get my chance to fight now, sir.
Arrested, sir.
Morning, sir. Blaine, sir.
Bradshaw, sir.
Cooley, sir.
Ken, sir. Conway, sir.
Cressy, sir.
Davis, sir. Darton, sir. Kershaw, sir. Neil, sir.
Norris, sir. Owen, sir. Wyatt, sir.
Black, sir.
Howell, sir.
The end of the war was, of course, also the end of my short career as headmaster. And alas, the end of my schoolmastering days altogether. After all, I was 70 years old. Mrs. Wicked! Oh, of course. I don't know you, do I? You must be a new boy.
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Linford, sir. The boys told me I had to report to Mr. Chips.
Mr. Sorry.
That's what they said, sir. Should I ask first, sir?
Mr. Chips. Even the joke has become a tradition.
Joke, sir?
Yes, well, you mustn't get my cold. Cut along. And come and have tea with me one day when I'm better, eh?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, and Linford, you'll soon settle down at Brookfield.
Yes, sir. Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
boys, boys.
Well, you old ruffian. That was a fine shock you gave us. Are you feeling all right? Merely that you passed out. Just for a little while.
I told you not to go out in that cold, sir. But, well, it was Armistice Day, Doctor. It was Armistice Day.
We'll have to watch your chest, old man. And you've strained your heart a wee bit. You're fine now, though, as long as you take it easy. Try and sleep. Keep him in bed, Mrs. Wicket, or he'll be sneaking out to watch the soccer.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. I'll be back. Stay with him. Goodbye.
Wixie. Catherine. Catherine.
Is this a famous book?
Yes, Headmaster. Those were all his memories of the school.
It's a shame he couldn't have finished them.
Good of you to come, Mr. Cartwright.
How is he?
Peaceful. Fading gently.
Poor old chap. Must have lived a lonely sort of a life all by himself.
Well, not always by himself. He married, you know. That's her.
She was beautiful. I had no idea.
She died, it must have been, oh, quite 30 years ago. Possibly more.
Pity. Pity he never had any children.
Chips?
I have children. Thousands of